Hello you guys, welcome back to another movie review. Today, the movie that we will be reviewing is the new sci-fi action adventure movie, The Creator, starring John David Washington. The Creator is directed by Gareth Edwards. You don't know who that is. He's the same one who directed Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and also Godzilla that started the MonsterVerse series back in 2014 or 15. I can't remember the exact date. Basically, though, when I saw this trailer, the first time I saw this trailer for the movie The Creator, I was like, wow, I'm seeing a lot of movies in here that I've seen many times. So the movie follows John David Washington's character, who used to be a former special operative of some kind in the new military that the Americans have in this dystopian era, and he is sent to find this weapon that can help them in the war that they have with AI, and it later finds out that it's this kid who's like half AI, half human, and then pretty much after that he decides to protect the child, and then it becomes like a dystopian survival film. It basically is like, I guess you can say it's pretty much The Last of Us after he finds the kid. The concept scene in this movie is something you've seen a lot of. I mean, first of all, fighting AI robots, then AI robots having, nukes that can destroy the whole world, and then of course then we're at war with the robots. This is something we've seen a lot of. I think James Cameron started this whole concept when he made Terminator, but I wouldn't say this is like a James Cameron movie. Honestly, I got more of like a Blade Runner vibe in it. Like if maybe Blade Runner and Star Wars Rogue One had a baby, this would probably be that movie. Even though the movie follows a lot of the same concepts, that doesn't actually mean the movie was bad. The movie was actually really good. I felt entertained pretty much the whole time that I was watching this movie. John David Washington does a good job. He plays a great guy. It first starts off as a soldier and then moves into being a protector. He was like the main guy that we were following in the beginning, but then the movie moved more towards the kid being the star of the show. Also, Allison Janney did a great job as our villain. She did a great job. I guess you can say she was a bitch almost the whole film, the way she was trying to technically say turn off the robots. It's always interesting in movies like this how the villain has this cynical way of saying what they're doing sounds bad, but it's good. It's like they're trying to convince the audience what we're doing is for the greater good. It's like, it sounds bad, but I'm just turning off the robots, okay? They're not dying, they're just being turned off. It's like, they are dying. You're not turning them off, they're dying. Just say that you are killing them. The vibe I got from this movie was actually a really good vibe. It kind of pulled me into the world, even though this is a world that I've seen millions of times, a dystopian future fighting AI. But I felt like I was a part of it, I was really feeling pulled into this movie. And Gareth Edwards is really good at that, at creating worlds. He's up there probably with Ridley Scott and James Cameron when it comes to creating worlds in these movies. He knows how to use his budget well, especially when it comes to the visual effects, because the visual effects are really good, and it didn't dwarf the story. I've seen a lot of movies where the movie looked good because of the visual effects, but the story was just horrible. One part that kind of actually threw me off at first was that every act of the movie had a title card. And I was like, wow, why does every film have a title? Act of this movie have a title card? This is not an anthology film. So I was kind of confused at that at first. I was like, this is odd, but I'm still enjoying the movie. But then it also made me start thinking that maybe this movie was actually intended to be much longer, because there were parts in this movie where I was watching it, it felt like it was just cut off and then moved to the next act. So it was it didn't kind of flow. There was flow here, cut, flow a little bit more, cut, and then flow to the end. So it was it didn't mesh completely all together at certain parts. So I was like, maybe this movie was actually meant to be longer, and they just had to make some final cuts, and they couldn't add that into the theatrical version, but maybe we'll get an extended version later. So that also kept me, interested there, that maybe that's why these title cards were put in. Overall, though, this movie was great. I actually really enjoyed it. great action sequences, great actors, great characters. I mean, the editing was kind of jumpy. Reminded me of a lot of Christopher Nolan's editing, but I mean, I guess that's how people want to follow his example. But overall, yes, it was really great, and it was emotional. The story was emotional for a dystopian, sci-fi movie that we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of nowadays. Overall, I'm going to give the creator a B+. I mean, great science fiction movie. Probably the best one we're getting at coming to the end of this year. I mean, really wish Dune was still going to be coming out this year, but that got pushed back to next year. So this one is probably the best sci-fi movie we're getting at the end of the year. Alright guys, so the creator, if you guys have seen it, please comment here down below what your thoughts were on the movie. Also, if you've seen my other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.